stop. This is something completely different. If you're a history fan, go find one of the videos in the back catalogue. I will return to make history videos next week. If you want to skip through to the training bits, be my guest, you don't have to stick around, but if you want to get a good idea of things, I would suggest that you do stick around. So today's date is Wednesday, the 11th of January 2023, and I just got back from work, and I have decided to do something completely out of my comfort zone. I recently finished my master's degree, literally last week, and I'm looking for a new challenge. So I thought, why not run a marathon? It's something that I've always wanted to do, but have never done before. So I looked at the nearest marathon to me, which, living in Milan, is going to happen in Milan. And the only problem is, it's in 11 weeks' time, April the 2nd. I'm not fit, I'm a history teacher, and after the Christmas break I'm slightly overweight. Additionally, some of you may know me as a rugby player. I played professionally and internationally for a number of years, but I retired in 2020, 3 years ago pretty much. I have torn ligaments in both my knees, in my right ankle as well. I've torn hamstrings multiple times. I've torn my calf muscle on my left hand side. I have a constantly sore hip and a constantly sore back. Last time I ran was about 8 months ago. The last time I ran a race, I was 17 and it was only 100 meters. So you may be wondering, why on earth are you doing this to yourself? And to be honest, I'm wondering that as well. Why am I doing this? But I'm not going to do it just to simply run. I'm of course doing it for my health, but more importantly, I'm going to run for a charity and the health of others. All of the funds that I'm going to collect are going to go to a charity. Currently, I'm raising funds for Mercy Ships, which is literally hospitals on ships that go around to places that don't have hospitals and give to people that don't have anything. So if you are feeling charitable, please find the link in the description down below. This is going to be one hell of a challenge for me. So yeah, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? Anyway, let's get into this. So throughout the video, you will notice that I've made 6 top tips that I've picked up throughout this experience and picked up from other people as well, not just myself, which will help you to train and potentially run your marathon. So I've just done my first run. As you can see, I'm steaming. It was challenging, I'll admit that. I ran 4.52 Ks in 26 minutes and 26 seconds, as you can see there. Yeah, this is going to be a challenge. Exciting. Especially because I woke up at 6 o'clock this morning to go for a run and it is -2 degrees, and as you can see it's still dark after my run, so it's going to be a challenge. So I just did my first long run, double digits, 10 Ks, 1 hour, 7 minutes, 40 seconds. Not very quick, but I didn't feel as bad as I thought I was going to feel. It was obviously challenging because I haven't been on my feet moving for an hour and 7 minutes in quite a while, but it wasn't terrible, which is obviously a good thing, but at the same time it might be a bad thing because I might get arrogant, thinking that I can do more too soon. So I want to make sure in this next week that we're going to have a rest day tomorrow on Monday, and then start again with 5 kilometers and work my way up until I get to the weekend where I'm going to do another long run. Another long run might be 12 Ks. I'm not going to push myself too soon. I don't want to do that. It is the 29th of January 2023, and I just did another big run. Last week I did a big run, it was 12 Ks. This week I did another big run and it was 15 Ks. Now I managed to do this run in 1 hour and 35 minutes and I felt pretty strong, but I started getting a whole bunch of blisters. Now my running shoes that I'm using are pretty good New Balance running shoes, and I've run with them before, but I think it's definitely just the distance instead of my shoe size and things like that. So I need to make sure that I'm going to be Vaselining to reduce the friction as much as possible. But otherwise, still feeling good, sticking to the program and just taking it one day at a time. Hey guys, so I just ran my first half marathon, 21 Ks in 2 hours, 11 minutes and 42 seconds. Obviously this is quite a big thing for me. Never run a half marathon before, so I'm quite happy that I was able to do it. I felt quite strong. However, throughout the week I was feeling very weak, and I actually took a rest day on Thursday, which was normally a workout day, and I think that it's definitely time to start talking about nutrition. And also, as you can see, I've got some new kit as well as some new running socks to stop my blisters, but yeah, I'll talk about that later on. So happy that it happened, but it's definitely time to start picking things up in terms of my rest days, but also training a bit more intelligently. So yeah.
Nutrition and food. When I started out this journey, of course I knew something from my rugby background, but I wanted to make sure that I was getting the correct amount of nutrition. So I asked someone who is very close to me and who has a lot of experience with running marathons. In fact, she's done, I don't know, something like 30 marathons, and this is my mother. So I asked her what I should be eating, and she literally just said, listen to your body. If you're hungry, eat. If you feel like you're overeating, don't do that. If you feel like you're undereating, make sure that you eat a little bit more. And I really liked this approach to nutrition, but I absolutely love food. I always have loved food. That's probably why I put on a bit of weight. So apart from my mother, I also asked someone that I used to work with in the past, who is currently a dietitian at a professional rugby team, and I asked him what I should be eating. And his format was pretty much exactly the same as my mother's. So that's what I did. I made sure that I obviously wasn't eating lots of sugary things, because obviously it increases inflammation. One thing that the dietitian said to me is decrease any alcohol intake. Now, I don't drink a lot, but in this past few weeks I've stopped to drink to make sure that I'm as ready as possible to reduce my inflammation on my knees and ankles especially, and my hamstrings, which often, touch wood, let go in long distance running and sprinting. So I've just made sure that I've been eating whenever I'm hungry, making sure that I'm having a solid breakfast. I normally eat oats and a banana and some nuts. Then for my lunch, it'll be something mainly carb based, like pasta with some proteins and veg. And then for my dinners, I'm quite hungry when I get home from work, but I've been making sure that I've been cutting down a little bit on what I eat at dinner time, been making sure also after I've been doing my runs to get lots of protein in, drinking something like a protein shake just to replenish my body from whatever I've lost. Top tip number 2, equipment. I made sure to use the exact same equipment every single time during my long runs. I used a luminous green running top that I bought from Decathlon for €5. I used the same running shoes, which are absolutely perfect for what I needed. Then I had running socks, which I spent quite a bit of money on, about €12, and they were fantastic. I didn't need any blister plasters on my feet. Vaseline, I didn't use it, but if you need it, of course you can use it. Then I used compression socks, which I had from my old rugby days, then tights, which I also had from my old rugby days, and running shorts as well. But most importantly, I think, is the fact that I used a camel pack whilst running. I go through a lot of liquids in the day, no matter what. If I'm doing activities or just sitting working, I drink a lot of water, and so the camel pack was really important for me.
Hey guys, it's the 10th of February. As you can see, I'm pretty steamy. I just finished a 15k run early in the morning. Now the reason that I did this long run on a Friday before my work instead of a Sunday is because I'm going away, but at the same time I need to train. And then the second reason is to ensure that I still have mental fortitude, because obviously I'm training for this marathon and I'm sure there's going to be difficult times when I'm running the marathon, so I wanted to make sure that I'm working on my mental strength as much as possible. And so I ran my 15Ks in 1 hour 24 minutes. Not super quick, but I just wanted to make sure that I still can go into that dark place and enjoy being there. Bye. Today's date is the 28th of February. We're pretty much a month to go until I run my marathon. The only problem is, not last Sunday, but the Sunday before, I ran 23Ks,
and I was feeling pretty solid, especially after the fact that we were in London for that week and I didn't do much running, but I did a lot of walking. However, as I was getting to about the 23rd K, my knee started really hurting, and then all of a sudden I cramped and I was in pain, a lot of pain. I didn't finish that run. I got about 22.8 Ks, and I was in pain a little bit the day after, but my Achilles tendon flared up and got really swollen, and I was a bit concerned about that. It's probably because of the fact that I put on so many Ks onto the clock so quickly, especially because when we were in London, we rarely walked a lot, and I mean a lot. One day I think we did like 27 Ks or 25 Ks, I can't remember exactly, just walking. So I was on my feet constantly. And that of course has an impact on your body the entire time, and the problem is that I'm about 4 weeks out of the marathon. I've paid for everything, I've done my medical test, I've done the payments and the registrations that I need to do in terms of joining a club and the payment of the marathon itself, which isn't a small sum, but I'm a little bit frustrated with myself for getting injured this close to the marathon. It just making sure that I rested. I've been icing it, I've been taking ibuprofen to try and recover, but it's not quite there yet, so I'm really concerned as to what's going to happen. But yeah, it's a bit of a worry, to be honest. So I just finished a run, 12 Ks in 1 hour 22 minutes 14. Not too quick, but the reason that I did it is to make sure that my Achilles is going to be okay. And also I realized that I need to just head on with it because I'm running out of time. In a few weeks' time, I think it's 3 weeks' time now, I'm going to be running, which is scary. Most training programs focus on about 16 to 20 weeks for marathon preparation. I'm doing it 11, so almost half the time pretty much. So I just need to get on with it. And my ankle and Achilles was okay, a little bit painful, but yeah, it was good that it was okay. However, I ran at that speed, about 6.5 to 6:50 per K, because I'm probably going to run the marathon at that speed, and I need to make sure that I'm used to running at that speed. Top tip number 3: fail to prepare to fail. If you don't put in the hard work, the likelihood of you actually not finishing increases. For me, it starts the night before any run. I put out my clothes to make sure it motivated me enough to go out and run out in the cold and dark. This leads to me getting fitter and fitter and being used to being on my feet so long. Within this section, I would actually put rest as well. Train hard, but rest hard. Not just laying on the couch, but stretching and doing some pool work or ice baths if you have access to that type of stuff. I didn't, so I made sure I was walking and staying hydrated and staying mobile as much as possible on my rest days. Hey guys, so the big one is done. I did 30 Ks today in 3 hours and 28 minutes 45 seconds. It was fantastic. The first time I got a runner's high, which is really nice. I started getting it about 25 Ks in, and then the last 5 Ks were just glorious. It's also nice and sunny, so it was really nice being out there, I must admit. My Achilles was very sore the whole time, but not so sore that I had to stop, so I didn't force myself through it, but it was quite challenging. And then one thing that I did notice is my ITBs, especially on my right hand side, down the right hand side of my leg, are really tight, so I need to make sure that I'm stretching as much as possible and foam rolling whenever possible, which is the bane of my existence. I hate foam rolling, but I'm going to have to do it anyway. So yeah. Top tip number 4: pace yourself. Don't go out and try to run 20 Ks in your first ever training run. Work up towards it. Use my 11-week plan if you want to. Probably you're going to use a longer plan, which is great. But if you don't give your body time to get used to running these long distances, you can get injured, just like I did with my Achilles, because I overdid it. So pace yourself, especially when running the race, actually. At the beginning, you're going to feel like $1,000,000. You're going to be feeling like you're the fittest person on earth, and you are going to be super pumped up on adrenaline. But take it as it comes. Don't start too fast and burn yourself off. Hey guys, I just ran 15 Ks now. It's a week before the marathon. Last week I ran half a marathon, 21 Ks, felt pretty good. This week, 15 Ks for my big run, also felt pretty good. But yeah, all the work's done. It's just now preparing myself for the mental challenge of 42 kilometers, which is long. On Tuesday I'm going to run 5, on Wednesday I'm going to run 5, just to make sure that my legs are working overtime, and then on the Friday I'm probably going to go for a massage,
and then I run on the Sunday. So yeah.
Top tip number 5. I really didn't find the run physically challenging. Obviously it was challenging, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't the most difficult thing that I've ever done. The only problem was I got so bored whilst doing it. And I mean, if you do anything for hours, you're going to get bored. Me being a complete history nerd, I love history, and I listen to history podcasts, and they kept me entertained up to a certain point, but I did get bored. So I would definitely recommend finding something entertaining whilst you're running to keep your mind off the fact that you're running, because it gets boring. Top tip number 6. Now this isn't really a tip, but might be a helping factor to get you on the road and on the journey of running a marathon. Running a marathon is a great way to get in shape, of course, but perhaps not the best way to get in shape. I would definitely say going and lifting weights would maybe get you in shape a bit quicker and maybe make you feel a bit better. But when I started out, I weighed 93 kilograms. My resting heart rate was 55 beats per minute. My belly, at its widest part around my belly button, was 96 centimeters. My left leg 64 centimeters, and my right leg 65 centimeters in circumference. But by the end, I weighed 91 kilograms. My resting heart rate was 50 beats per minute. My belly was 91 centimeters circumference. Left leg 62, right leg 63 circumference. Centimeters, obviously. So in terms of aesthetics, of course, it can help. But I definitely think going and lifting weights would make you look better and feel more in shape a bit quicker. By the way, my heart rate has always been super low, so please don't take that into consideration compared to yours. In fact, when I was doing my medical test, the doctor said that I don't have a heartbeat, I have a drum, because it just kept beating at the same pace. So don't look too much into my beats per minute during my resting heart rate. Hi guys, it's the 1st of April, which means that I'm just one day out from the marathon. I've got everything planned, I've got everything ready, I've got my bib, I've got all the goodies that they've given us, I've been to the expo, done everything, made sure that I've just kept on with my program. I haven't really missed a beat apart from the time that I was injured with my ankle. But tomorrow is the day. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I've played rugby in front of thousands of people and it's been absolutely nothing for me. But I'm nervous. I think it's something that I haven't done before, that's probably why. But at the same time, I'm really excited. Going to see the expo, I went to the place to get all my things and they gave me a red bag, and I looked around and everyone had orange bags, and I asked them, why do I have a red bag and everyone else has orange bags? And the guy said, perché tu fare la maratona completo, you're running the complete marathon, the full marathon. And I was like, yeah. And he's like, the other ones are doing a relay. And I was like, oh, okay, that is an option. And I turned around and I saw 3 people holding these red bags, and we all kind of were looking at each other like, did we mess up? We were all kind of in a moment of limbo and a bit scared. But I prepared. I mean, all I can do is just make sure that I'm as ready as possible. I'm gonna wake up nice and early tomorrow, eat a solid breakfast before I run, but not too much. I'm going to wake up at about 5. The race starts at 9, but we have to be there at 7 to get everyone through the gates, because apparently there's 20,000 people running, and we have like a whole bunch of gate entrances that we're allowed to carry. But yeah, let's see how it goes. We're about 9.5 Ks, going past the Duomo. I'm enjoying it so far. Currently 16 kilometers in, 1 hour, 41 minutes. I got some beautiful architecture to look at. And I nearly just fell. Now, how did I actually run this marathon? I started right at the back. I'd never run a marathon before, so I didn't have a qualifying time. And in fact, I started about 1 kilometer away from the starting line. So when the gun went off, I pushed my watch and I was ready to go. And I saw that the 4 hour 45 pace group was in front of me, and so I decided to run with them in the beginning. They were running about 6 minutes 40 per kilometer, and I was very, very comfortable at this pace. But I was making sure that I was just checking to see if my legs were okay, if my breathing was good, just taking my time. Now, I had a mixture of Powerade and water in my Camel pack, and I was going through that as I needed it, and I was also eating glucose packets when I needed it. I took 5 glucose packets with me, 3 at the start, and then eventually when I got to 21 Ks, I met my partner who made sure that I had another 2 Powerades and a bit of water to dilute the Powerade, and another 2 glucose packs just to get me through to the end. Obviously, when I stopped off for about 4 minutes or so, and the 4 hour 45 group continued running. And so I decided that I wanted to catch them up because we were talking, we were having a nice time whilst running. And when I caught them up, I realized that when I was catching them, I was running a bit quicker, and I actually felt much more relaxed and natural whilst running a little bit quicker. So I ran for another kilometer with them, and then I decided to push myself a little bit harder and started to get in a natural rhythm. But at about 32 Ks, we were crossing a little bridge and we had to go up this hill, and I hit a wall. But I walked over this bridge and I was actually feeling fine afterwards, so I continued to run, got back into a good rhythm. And then by the last 5 kilometers, I was on a complete runner's high, and I literally mean a complete runner's high. But the people around me were clearly struggling. It was very hot and people were falling out and fainting and cramping, a few people hurting themselves. A man definitely tore his hamstring right in front of me. But there was a whole bunch of ambulances there, and it was almost as if it was like no man's land, World War I no man's land. Of course I wanted to stop and help them, but because there were so many ambulances there, I would have just got in the way. However, when I eventually got to the last little section of the marathon, I rounded the bend and I saw it was about 200 meters away from the finishing line. And I saw a friend, and they ran with me for a bit, and I decided to just sprint the last 200 meters. Clearly, I had left way too much in the tank at the end. I crossed the finishing line at 4 hours 30, an average of 6 minutes 18 per K for 43 kilometers, because I started a kilometer back. So I'm really happy that I finished. I did it. I managed to actually get a medal. It was my goal to finish. I didn't want to rush off in the beginning and make sure that I was going to burn out. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So I spoke with my parents whilst I was running, and my mum kind of walked me through it. She said, yeah, you can push a little chair, how are you feeling? All depends on your legs. Are you drinking enough? Are you eating whilst you are going? Etc, etc. And I managed to do it. So I'm really happy that I managed to do it. I'm happy that I managed to finish my first marathon. And what I'm even more happy about is I actually feel pretty good. The next day I was able to go for a short walk. I went to work. Everything was hunky-dory. And I think that it is clearly obvious why people get addicted to marathon running. Because when I crossed that finishing line, I was on an absolute high. It was great. I really recommend that you go out and try it yourself. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. The more you know. Also, if you can, go and donate. Bye-bye.